That's what hotel industry is all about. I always keep motivating people. If you go to work today, just keep one thing in mind. You can't change the life of every guest in the hotel. But if you come with the intention of changing the life of one guest, if we all do that and we are 305 people, then we'll make a difference. And that should be what hospitality industry is all about. Not like what's going to happen in next year, what's going to happen next week. No, today. How can I impact someone's experience today?
Hello, my name is Renae Leith-Manos. Welcome to this podcast, Where to From Here, featuring conversations about luxury travel and how it's changing in every pocket of the globe.
Hi guys, today we're going to Spain, to the beautiful island of Mallorca. Now, I've only just been there for the first time and I have to say it is so beautiful. I stayed in the main town there called Palma, which was quite magical with beautiful shopping, alleyways, incredible tapas bars, Spanish wine and Spanish food. And I can't wait to go back again properly because to really explore Mallorca, you need a car. And because I didn't have a car, I didn't get to meet our special guest today. But that means I have to go back, have lunch with him and see his beautiful hotel. But welcome to the program, Thomas.
Thank you, Renee. Wow, the way you describe it makes me remind myself how nice it is to live in Palma.
Yes. No, it's very beautiful. Are you based in Palma or are you based at the hotel?
I live in Palma, so I do my commute every morning, which is like a 30 minutes coming up to the mountain and 30 minutes coming down at the end of the night, which is it's great because there's a certain disconnection between work and home. I've had different situations where I lived on property in the past, and I could definitely say that I prefer to have this 30 minutes of disconnection before I arrive home.
Yeah, that's it. It's refreshing, isn't it? Kind of mentally and physically.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes when I was living in Lima, I lived 5 minutes from home. I would come home and my wife would open me a beer, sit me down for 10 minutes. It's like, take your 10 minutes and then we can talk because the machine
Oh,
was
that's
still
so
working, right?
nice.
Yeah,
Yes. So you're talking about Lima, Peru?
correct. Yes.
Yes. Now that is a really interesting city, isn't it? Packed with incredible, like global standard restaurants, which one wouldn't expect.
I have been to 278 restaurants in Lima and I counted them. And I only had one bad experience, and that's what's in the first 2 years of my arrival in Lima. So I really made the most of it. And then I'm talking about hole in the wall burrito bar
Mm.
in Barranco to Central, one of the best restaurants in the world with the best chef in the world. So a great variety of food offering, and I was trained as a chef, so food for me is hugely important, and I really, really, really loved Lima.
You have actually worked across 4 continents and managed luxury hotels from Laos to Lima, now Mallorca. What has surprised you most about hospitality in Spain and Portugal compared to anywhere else?
Okay. Well, that might be a controversial topic because obviously now I'm based in Spain and Portugal. But I really think that the difference between, and if I compare Asia to Europe, these are for me the two extremes where I used to work, is that the level of education in Asia is maybe not as high as you find it in Europe, but the level of service culture and willingness to do well is much higher in Asia than it is in Europe. I mean, I think that I can say that as a European, I feel that we very often are very entitled, or we feel very entitled. And I've had the experience working in Southeast Asia, for example, where the mindset and of the service industry is completely different. So it's difficult to juggle both because obviously in Europe the level of education is a little bit higher, but also the entitlement, whilst the service culture in Asia is, I think, 2 steps ahead of Europe.
You were reportedly offered any destination in the world by Belmont and chose Deià. What made La Residencia in Mallorca your dream posting?
Okay. Well, first off, it's not entirely that Belmont said, hey, listen, where do you want to go and we'll send you there, right?
Right.
I was in Peru at the time. I was offered a few different positions within Belmont, checked them out, and went back to the team saying, listen, I'm not quite sure about these destinations. And then the former COO told me, like, so in an ideal world, where would you like to be within Belmont? And then I said, okay, Mallorca, this is where I would like to be. And 6 months later, I got the phone call that the position became available. So yes, I've been asked what would be my preference, and I was lucky enough to be able to move eventually to the location where I really wanted to be.
So hang on, why Belmont have some spectacular hotels that I've reviewed in South America, including that train to Machu Picchu. So they weren't enough to tempt you. Mallorca, the location and the hotel there, was an even bigger temptation than those hotels, because there's one, I mean, the hotels there, Belmont, are out of this world. Most of them are informal convents. They're historical. They're magnificent, right?
Yeah. Well, when I was earlier on in my career, it was just easier for me to move around. You know, you pick up the backpack and you move from Yangon to Siem Reap in no time. But once you get married, once you get kids, not only the hotel and the industry as such is important, but you also start thinking about education and healthcare. And for me, that was at the moment the time that I decided that it was time to move out of Peru. Because Belmont is huge in Peru, but it's very often in Cusco and Sacred Valley, so in the more remote areas. So I was looking for a position that was not such a, let's call it a hardship post, but where I had the facilities to start family life. And since I'm European, I'm from Belgium, my wife is Austrian, we did not see ourselves living in one of those countries, the corporate Europe. We still wanted to have this Mediterranean feel of Spain and Italy. And La Residencia has always been in my radar. Actually, in 2019, before I was asked the question, where do I want to, where do I want to be? I actually came to La Residencia and I was sitting here on the terrace, actually of the suite next door, looking my wife in the eye and saying, if we ever had a chance, have the chance to move to Mallorca, this is where we would like to be. So this is how it all happened.
Wow. So you manifested it.
And I strongly believe that that's the case. If you would like to have something in life, you have to speak it into existence.
Wow. And that's really worked for you.
Yes. I think Mallorca, it's not the place where I think I will live for the rest of my life, but I will definitely come back to retire here, if that makes sense. Because I still want to see the world and see new cultures and new countries. But for us, Mallorca is perfect in a sense that we have everything we need. It's Mediterranean. We're half an hour from Barcelona, 2 hours from Belgium, 2 hours from Austria. So, you know, it has everything that we're looking for as a family.
At this time.
At this time, yes, correct.
And tell me about La Residencia, excuse me, my Spanish isn't quite up there this afternoon, but you've won, congratulations, the Hotel of the Year for 2025.
Yes, Travel and Leisure rated us as the best hotel in Spain and Portugal for 2025.
It's amazing.
And what makes me so proud is that sometimes you win prizes and that's a result because of marketing agreements, but this is not the case. Travel and Leisure is basically the votes have been done by guests of the hotel. So that gives me even more pleasure to say that, okay, we didn't invest in a marketing campaign and that's a result of that. No, this is really the opinion from the guests. So it has been an ambition for us as a team ever since I arrived in 2020 to become the best hotel in Spain. So in 2024, we were rated the best hotel in Spain. In 2025, the best hotel in Portugal and Spain. So it's great to see if you have an ambition and you put your mind to it, to see what you can achieve.
Another manifestation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what is it about the hotel that makes it so appealing to guests?
I think in general, people that travel to Mallorca, they expect an island feel. And we really wanted to position ourselves in that luxury market where we were a little bit different than all the other competitors that we have on the island. So La Residencia is a mountain escape. We call it our sanctuary of artistic energy. So everything that we do is about art, gastronomy, and wellness. Of course, we have the part of the ocean and the water that's included in our offering, but the key message that we'd like to send out, the positioning is all around that. That made us a little bit different. I think that now La Residencia has earned this name in a sense that people travel to Mallorca to stay at La Residencia, and that wasn't always the case in the past. So a lot of positioning work, a lot of brand work together with the corporate teams as well have gone into that, making this hotel such a desirable place to be and to visit.
And how long have you been there, Thomas?
Almost 5 years. I arrived in
Wow.
November 2020 at the back end of the COVID situation. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting time, but 5 years already in La Residencia.
And it's taken you, do you feel, the full 5 years to build it up to where it is today, as you describe, that tourists actually come to Mallorca to go to your hotel?
Absolutely. Sometimes when you do repositioning work for a hotel, it involves major renovations. And we have done some restyling exercises. We have done some renovations, but the master renovation plan is still ahead of us. So the work
Yes.
that we have done has really been around positioning of the property and guest experiences, because the product as such has not necessarily changed. Now, La Residencia has always been a place where guests would come to if they would like to stay in a true Mallorcan finca and not a hotel that has gold and marble. And we're never going to change that. In fact, that's also a little bit what the brand Belmont stands for, right? Sense of place, connection to the destination. And that's really the work that we have done in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love the Belmont brand. Did you catch that train when you lived? I mean, it's one of the classic train rides in the world, the Belmont Train to Machu Picchu. Have you done that?
I have done the Hiram Bingham, which is the day train. So you leave from Cusco in the morning, 4 hours to
Yes.
Aguascalientes, then you go up to the mountain, and at night you come back 4 hours. I can tell you,
Yes.
that's a party. It's
Yes, and
incredible.
it's a sense of place. I think for me, because I haven't been to your hotel, but I agree with you. I mean, that experience on that train, because they have an open air carriage at the back where you can actually stand there and sort of immerse yourself whilst on the train in the natural environment, right?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And you see the the world passing by, and the team on the train has actually, at the time that I was there, I'm not sure if that's still the case now, designed like a cocktail menu, and they would serve these cocktails in a certain order because they would have handpicked the ingredients of the region that the train was passing through. So if you talk about a sense
Yeah,
of place, that was definitely the case. But I've seen ladies of 80 years old dancing in the carriage on the way back to Cusco because the band was just phenomenal.
that's
So
right.
it's a
And
long day,
again,
but it's an incredible experience.
yeah. And it's local music. And for me, the relationships I formed, you could have filmed a movie of all of the people that caught that train together on the day that I was there, probably every day that it goes. And the intimate experience that you share, why you're here, what's drawn you to Machu Picchu, what's drawn you to this train ride, right? It's once in a lifetime. And I think Belmont is just so good at that. I mean, probably like you, I stay in so many different luxury hotels, but for me, they really do encapsulate that sense of place. And the hotel in Cusco, in fact, the Belmont Hotel also does that.
I think you're referring to Hotel Monasterio. I get
I am. I beg your pardon. I couldn't remember the name. Monasterio.
we
Oh,
actually
it's
have two in
amazing.
Cusco, but if people ask me nowadays what is my favorite Belmont hotel in the world, not considering La Residencia, obviously, I would say Cusco, Monasterio, because you really walk into that old monastery and you feel it. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can hear it. It's all about the sense of place, and that's what makes Belmont such a incredible brand and different compared to other operators like a Four Seasons. And sometimes guests ask me, so what do you think is the difference between Four Seasons and Belmont? Well, it's a sense of place. The same if you look at cars. Some people have a preference for Ferrari. Someone else would prefer to have a Bentley. Everybody has their own preferences, and that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's just a certain product for a certain type of traveler.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is the wildest or most heartfelt guest story, or even just story from your work that you've witnessed that truly sums up the magic of Belmont?
It's actually a story that happened here in La Residencia. There was a weekend that Real Mallorca was playing at home against Barcelona. And I had a young family that arrived, and the son was 7 years old, and he walked into the lobby with a Barcelona jersey. And I'm a big soccer fan. So I walked up to him and I said, listen, I have to tell you that normally we don't allow Barcelona fans in this hotel, especially not this weekend because they're playing against Real Mallorca. And he's like, no, but I came to Mallorca just because I wanted to see the game and I'm so excited. I said, okay, fair enough. So I drove home that night, and if I drive home, I drive past the stadium and past the fan shop. So I stopped, bought him a Real Mallorca jersey, and a good friend of mine who lives in my building, he's a Mallorca player. So I went to his house, asked him to sign the jersey. And the next morning at breakfast, I went to that little boy and I said, "Here you go. Here you have a jersey that you actually are allowed to wear." So he put the jersey on, and for the next 4 days, he didn't take it off. And he's now converted to a Real Mallorca fan. And I still have contact with that family that every year when Barcelona plays in Mallorca, they come to Mallorca and they let me know that they're in town. So if I can, I'll have a coffee or a drink with them. So these kind of stories they are not scripted. You can't design that. It's all about who does what in a certain moment. And okay, now it was me, but I have many stories of colleagues of mine that went out of their way just to provide an unforgettable experience to our guests. And that's what hotel industry is all about. I always keep motivating people. If you go to work today, just keep one thing in mind. You can't change the life of every guest in the hotel. But if you come with the intention of changing the life of one guest, if we all do that and we are 305 people, then we'll make a difference. And that should be what hospitality industry is all about. Not like what's going to happen in next year, what's going to happen next week. No, today. How can I impact someone's experience today? And then it's easy. Then you can just chip away at it. Because if you start thinking about the targets at the end of the season, it becomes this massive story that you don't necessarily see what's right in front of you, right? And that's what I try to
No, absolutely.
explain to the team.
Absolutely. And so how do you, get your teams, empower your teams, if you like, to bring that warmth and empathy? Do you train them a lot? Do you have regular sessions talking to them? How do you do that?
Well, I don't think that this is something you can train. That is either
Yeah.
in your heart or not. So
Yes.
I think what helps a lot, one, is setting the example, okay, and communicating that to the team. Guys, if you see an opportunity to go and buy a jersey that costs you 30 euros to impact the guest experience, I will never turn around and tell you that you shouldn't have done that. That's number one. But number two is I think a lot of that comes from recruiting. Don't recruit based on experience, but on emotional intelligence and how people communicate. Because if you have your heart in the right place, you can make everything happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. And not many general managers that I interview have the courage to say what you're saying. But I mean, I stay and review hotels all the time, and I completely concur. This is exactly what is missing in so many luxury hotel stays around the world right now.
Yeah. And it's very complicated
It's
because very often you find
yes,
you inherit a situation with a lot of experience,
yes,
which is great. I mean, but you need to find the right balance between having the experience and having these people that are able to make a difference. Now, let's be honest and realistic. You can't build a team around just that kind of profile. You need some experience that is moving the job along, and you need some guys that stand out and that are able to shine because other people, other employees and colleagues are. I mean, let's call it picking up the slack and doing the hard work. So you need to find the right balance between the two. You can't run a hotel with only people that emotional intelligence, but don't know what they're doing. If I mean, I'm taking it to the extreme, but I guess you know what I mean. And that's always the challenge for any leader, I think.
yes. I think it's true in a lot of industries, though. You want, people working in jobs that they feel passionate and that their heart is in their work. Then they feel better as a human being there every day as well.
Absolutely. And I
It's
I think that
sorry.
we spend so much time working and we spend more time with
Yes.
our colleagues than we spend so often with our families. And I keep telling them, let's have a little bit of fun along the way, because if not,
Yes.
if we're bored at work, you're not going to enjoy yourself. So let's find that right balance between being very professional, very sociable, and emotional intelligent, so we can really walk that extra mile for the guests.
100%. 100%. And Mallorca's hospitality market, I mean, as I said, I've just been for the first time. It's so competitive, Thomas. There's so many amazing hotels. It's a big island, as I said in my introduction. You need a car to get around. So it's changing that, there's development happening all the time. What is your vision of the future of luxury travel there?
Well, luxury travel in the last 10 years definitely improved a lot. especially in Europe,
Yes.
Mallorca still has a little bit the reputation of being a party island for the English and the Germans. Now, obviously, if you would like to see that part of Mallorca, you can find it. But with the arrival of the Four Seasons, we have Jumeirah here now. Mandarin Oriental is coming next year. So definitely the luxury segment found its way to Mallorca. The positive thing here is that currently you cannot add hotels. So all these big players that came in had to basically purchase an existing hotel and renovate it. So they're trying to limit the growth in hotels because at the moment it's already a critical situation where I think that if we as an island or government are not going to make some strategic decisions, that's going to be a very complicated situation moving forward. I'm talking about logistics. I'm talking about the cost of accommodation. I'm talking about the quality of guides and experiences. So there's a lot of work to be done. Now, luxury
Now,
hotel.
can I just interrupt you? This is not an uncommon story. I mean, in Spain, we've had riots in Barcelona because of this issue. Too many tourists. Even if we go back to Asia, we were talking about Asia earlier. Bali has a major problem with too many hotels. You can't get anywhere. The traffic's so bad. This is a global problem, is it not?
Absolutely. I was in Valencia 2 weeks ago and they told me exactly the same story. The only thing is that we sometimes overlook. Okay, let's focus on Mallorca. The same thing, riots, too many tourists, the locals cannot go to their own restaurant, the prices of the accommodation increased. I understand all of that, and it's definitely a topic that we need to address. However, it is still 80% of the income of the island. And sometimes I feel that people tend to forget that this is generating their income. Of course, it's 2 months a year that it's tough and difficult, but if we don't have that, what do we have on an island like Mallorca? And like you rightfully said, the same question is in Barcelona, in Valencia, in Indonesia, but it's all about finding the balance and making it sustainable. And it's not always like that.
It's not, but it'll be interesting if governments globally, they almost need to hold hands and say, we're going to have a policy that says there's a cap, there's a limit on those perhaps 2 months of the year that you said, or something that during that time, once we reach that capacity, no more people coming in. You have to wait until September or May or whatever it is. I don't know, but in Greek islands, it's everywhere. But also I think, I mean, what I see, I just did, I was in Milan for the first time, 39 five-star hotels. Greece has typically never had five-star hotels. They had an astronomical amount of investment in the last 5 years, or effectively since COVID. So many more luxury brands are taking up these locations that they were never in before, even Mallorca, right? It's
Absolutely.
become more commercial.
Absolutely. But I do think the good thing is here that you can't just buy a plot of land and build a new five-star hotel. You need to take over something that
Yes.
exists. So in that sense, you kind of control the availability or the supply, basically.
Yes.
And that's a very important step in the right direction. But of course, we're not there
Yes.
yet, and everybody plays their part and their role, obviously.
No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really good. And tell me, I've got a quirky one for you. I know we are talking about this before. If you could host a dinner with any three global icons, alive or not, at La Residencia, who would you invite and what would you serve, given that you're a former chef?
Well, I always like to keep it sweet and simple. So normally I would say I'll make my own pizza because that's what I really enjoy doing. However, we are in
Wow.
Spain, so I think I would do a simple pamboli. A pamboli is a local dish that the shepherds here in the mountains used to have. Local bread, garlic, tomato, olive oil, and then a little bit of Spanish ham on top. If you work with good quality ingredients, it doesn't have to be much more complicated than that.
No,
But
absolutely.
if we're talking about the three people that I would invite, you said global icons. Probably there's one or two in the list that you probably never heard of, but they're icons to me.
Sure.
One is Jamie Oliver. I would love to have him at the table and serve him my pizza to see what his opinion is. Then we have Matthew Frazier. I don't know if you know him, but in the CrossFit world, he is an icon, and his motto is "Hard work pays off," and that for me is that says everything. You work hard, it will
Yeah.
pay
Is
off.
he English or where is he
He's
from?
from the States, United States. Matthew
Okay.
Frazier. And then you have
Yes.
my idol is Vincent Kompany, is a Belgian ex Red Devil captain of my team, and he's now the coach of Bayern Munich. And why him? He is Belgian, but from Congolese descent. And if you have a moment, you should look it up. He once did a speech where he was the coach of a team in the English Premier League, got relegated. And after that season, he was selected by Bayern Munich, one of the juggernauts in the world of soccer, to be their coach. So he was. I was never the one that people would expect to be in this position, but I'm here. I have my values, and I will stand for I stand for those, and I will continue to do business how I see fit, because this is what I am, my personality, my vision, my values. And if someone else doesn't agree with that, that's fine. But I stick true to who I am as a person, and for me, that's more than enough. And what other people then say about that, it's a completely different story. But I do what I find important in life. Vincent Kompany, and he for me is an idol, not only because of that, but also because where he came from, the adversity that he had faced in his life, and where he is now as a result of his values. So
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing because we're living in a time where everyone is copying each other. People see something on social media, even in hotels, I see it. They do the same thing. And I think the people who go their own way and have their own signature and, have the blinkers on and think, no, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. And it sounds very much, Thomas, like you're that kind of person. They're the ones that are succeeding now and that are really getting the accolades and getting the attention.
The thing is, obviously, when you do that, sometimes you're considered different.
Yeah.
And everybody always says, like, I would like to be different. But the moment that someone steps out of that and actually is different, they look at that person and go, it's a bit odd. So
That's true. Weird. Everyone uses that word
that's
weird.
weird.
You're
Everybody
right.
wants to be different, but when you're really
Yes.
different and do something different than everybody else, they look at you like, "Ooh, that's odd." So in that sense, high
Yes.
trees catch a lot of wind. So that means if you do something and you strongly believe in, and you take your way, and sometimes I have to say I may be a bit too stubborn or blue in my way, and I take a lot of time to make decisions. But once I make it, we go for it. And that means that along the
Yes.
way, you have some people that agree with you and some people that don't agree with you. But as long as you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, like, today I give it my all and I stay true what I find important. If someone else doesn't agree, that's fine. And that's always my idea of running a business as well. If I have an idea and someone tells me that they do not agree, I will sit down with that person, because if they have a different opinion, that probably means that I overlooked something, because they probably are the expert in their
Yes.
field. So you open up. But by sticking to
Interesting.
your guns and to try to be a little bit different, sometimes you face situations where people don't necessarily agree. But again,
No,
at
totally
the end of the
agree.
day, if you feel positive with what you do for yourself and how you carry yourself, that for me is the most important thing.
Oh, totally agree. You're preaching to the converted. It's wonderful to meet you and hear your philosophy.
Mm.
And what's the one luxury travel lesson that you would never want to forget? And what's the one hope that you hope every guest takes with you after a stay with you?
Flash does not create memories.
Mm-hmm.
A picture is a nice souvenir, but I prefer to sit down, relax, disconnect, and engage with the surroundings instead of trying to capture the moment. That for me is hugely important. I don't like travelers that pretend to be something that they're not, right? If I would go to Ibiza and I go to Nikki Beach and I see people popping the champagne bottles just for the sake of the Instagram videos, that's something that I can personally, I do not understand, and I will never understand. For me, it's just stay true to yourself, be normal sometimes, and that's already crazy enough. And just engage with the moment instead of trying to capture it. That's my travel motto.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Is that your hope, or what's the one luxury travel lesson that you would never want to forget?
So many. It's very difficult to put that into words. I think I have to think a little bit longer about that and send you a top 10 afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, look, it's so wonderful to speak to you, and we did have some trouble connecting over the last week. So thank you so much for your patience. It's just a joy. I really hope we do get to meet in person. But the question we ask everyone at the end of every interview is the title of this podcast: where to from here? And you can tell us about your next holiday, what you're doing today in beautiful Mallorca, or what's happening for you. So where to from here?
Where to from here? I'm really looking forward to a trip with my dad in October. I am
Oh,
going
beautiful.
to London, where both of us are going to watch our first NFL game, the American football. They come to London, and it's something that I have been wanting to do for a long time. And I was connecting with my dad a few weeks ago, and he actually had the same as mine, so we decided to do that together. So that's where we're going. My next break in a couple of weeks.
How beautiful. And why is that happening in London? You said London, didn't you?
Yes, I said London. Well, NFL is a very American sport, but they're expanding.
Yes.
So now they are going to Sao Paulo, they're going to Nigeria, they're going to London, Stuttgart, Madrid. So they're trying to expand the
Wow.
game all over the world. So London in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they designed the stadium just for NFL games, and I wanted to experience that because my team is coming to Europe, and I didn't want to miss out on that.
Fantastic. That's amazing. You've taught me something. I did not know that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Brilliant.
very much looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy your trip. I know you've got a lot on for the rest of the year. Have a wonderful year. And hopefully next summer I might actually get to meet you in person. But it's just an absolute joy to speak with you, and your hotel looks and sounds incredible.
Thank you very much, Renae, for making the time. And indeed, when you're in Mallorca, you give me a shout, and I'll make that beautiful pamboli for you.
Sounds wonderful, Thomas. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Don't forget to subscribe here and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for regular travel updates. You can also hear our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.